And we want to welcome the Quapaw tribe of Oklahoma. They are here and they're doing wonderful things, especially when it gets to the casino. No. What's your casino name? Downstream Casino. Everything happens upstream, but the best stuff is downstream. Right, Gilbert? So we have Gilbert here, and it's my pleasure to introduce Shelby. She'll be starting off this presentation. So come on up. She's a member of the Cherokee tribe, but she is working for the Quapaws right now. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know these two folks right here. So let's give them a big round of applause and as we hear their presentation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Like she said, my name is Shelby Crum. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer working for the Quapaw tribe as the Native Food Sovereignty Fellow. And this is my coworker who'll introduce himself.
My name is Gilbert Johnston, and I work at Downstream Casino. I've been chosen to come here to represent the Quapaw tribe, and I'm the horticulture manager. We're just celebrated our 10th year there at Downstream. We have 5 greenhouses. We grow herbs and vegetables for our chefs to serve back to our guests that come to stay and enjoy themselves at our hotel.
So I just want to give you a little background about the Quapaw tribe so you know the type of operation that we're running. The tribe that is now known as the Quapaws originally were from the Ohio River Valley area, and they were traveling down the Mississippi River, and half of their vine broke, and so half of the people drifted downstream, and that is what Ogapa means, is downstream. So that is actually our casino name that we built 10 years ago. So it's Downstream Casino, and we're going to be talking about that for a while and how our different food programs feed into that. We're currently located in northeast Oklahoma. We are right on the Missouri and Kansas border, so our different entities are in different states at some point in time, which is kind of funky, but it works really well for us. The tribe has around 5,000 enrolled members, but the Quapaw is a town of only 900 people, so we're very rural. And we've been building our agriculture program for about 8 years alongside our casino as part of Chairman John Barry's Farm to Table initiative. Most recently, we put together a food sovereignty team. It has about 10 different people on it from different departments. We have people from our Title VI, which is our Elder Center. We have a community health representative, environmentals represented in there. And so we took parts of other definitions, such as First Nations Institute, and we created our own definition of food sovereignty based on the parts that were important to us. So I'm just going to read this definition to you. Food sovereignty is the right of Native peoples to retain their cultural identity and to reserve fundamental rights, including the right to produce food, granted in treaties and other legal documents. It is a process of decolonizing the local food system to recreate a sustainable system that maximizes self-reliance through farm-to-table initiatives. So we're really trying to be self-reliant. And we're going to talk about all the different ways that we're helping achieve that.
These are the greenhouses that we have at Downstream. And in the 5 greenhouses, the first greenhouse is the herb greenhouse. We grow 21 different varieties of herbs, such as rosemary, lemon thyme, basil, lemon basil, lettuce leaf basil, lavender sage, lemon verbena, lemongrass, Swiss chard, chives, tarragon, and mint are just a few. Really what we do, we have the chefs go through the seed list and anything that they would like to use in the recipes they cook is what we try to use and grow for them to use in their recipes. In the greenhouses, I have a 7-member team. I also have a tropical greenhouse that we grow tropical plants that we use inside the casino. We also have 2 vegetable greenhouses. We operate our greenhouses year-round, so when it's cold in the winter, our greenhouses are very tropical inside. They're 78 to 80 degrees inside. We continue to grow our tomatoes and our cucumbers throughout the winter. We save our seeds throughout the summer, and we dry the tomatoes, the cucumbers on screens, and we replant the tomatoes and cucumbers, and we string them up and we grow them in the greenhouses, and we take fresh fruit into the chefs throughout the winter, spring, and summer. We have raised beds outside the greenhouses that we do cole crops in twice a year, and it's very, very productive. We have quite the process, and we don't do 100% of the vegetables there at Downstream, but we do quite a few. We try to do 100% for Red Oak, the signature steakhouse there, and then any overages that we have, they take and distribute to the other restaurants there at Downstream. We hope to eventually have a market that we can let the Quapaw Indians have the vegetables to take home and use when we have enough. We plan on adding one more greenhouse next year. I hope to add aquaponics. My greenhouses, I have 7 team members, really only 4 that really take care of the greenhouses. We work early mornings. We work from 6 to 2:30. In the mornings, when it's cool, we work inside the greenhouses. And when daylight comes, we work out in the landscape. Downstream sits on about 37 acres, and we take care of the landscape, the flower beds and all that. We use as many Native American plants as we can and native trees in the landscape outside. Native rocks and boulders in the landscape outdoors. We have a beautiful landscape area outside also. We grow our vegetables and herbs as natural as possible. We use natural plant oils for any insecticides that might be used. That's what we don't use insecticides. We use plant oils. Any aphids, insects that we might have, we release ladybugs a couple of times a year to eat the aphids that we might have. We open the doors in the greenhouses first thing in the morning when it's early, and we produce Quapaw honey. We have honey beehives, and we have bees. We gather the honey spring, summer, and fall. We hope to have maybe 200 gallons of honey this year that we will harvest. We've already harvested a couple of times. The honey is a light color this year, so we're thinking maybe clover and apple blossoms and blackberry blossoms. It's pretty light in color. Fall will be dark color. Last year was the first year we were able to sell it inside to the coffee company inside, and it's very delicious. And this year we hope to be able to sell more. We're very happy with our facility, and we use all of our products in every way we can. We just make use of everything. Our chefs come out to the greenhouse every morning and place orders for the herbs and vegetables, and my team gathers them up and bundles them up with natural ties, and then we deliver them first thing in the morning before some of the chefs even get there. They place their orders the day before. We take the herbs in the next morning, and then they're ready for the chefs. It's quite the process. It's growing. I eventually probably will have to have a couple more team members because of the growth, but right now we're very happy. We stay busy. We're very grateful for the Quapaw tribe, and we just are very grateful for the Mother Earth, and happy to be there and happy for the future. What you're looking at right now is some ceremonial corn, and ceremonial tobacco. The tobacco which normally goes with the chairman when he goes to maybe to open a new facility. I know it went to a church that was built at the Powwow grounds that he had built not too long ago for ceremonies, and the corn the same way. So it's used in a lot of ways. It's really interesting to grow. The tobacco is really interesting. We dry it, and it's quite interesting. We give a lot of tours. Probably 1,200 young people, culinary students from Oklahoma, and from all over the United States come, and they really enjoy it. We've had return young people for the last 3 years. They come in on charter buses. The University of Arkansas has been there a couple of years. They bring in 3 charter buses, and this is one of my team members here. Her name is Dawn. She's very good with the tours, and these kids, they're from all over. Some of them are from Hawaii, and they just love to see the facility. It's not only vegetables and herbs that they see. We've got, you can go into a goat pen, and the goats will climb all over you, and we probably have 50 baby goats at any given time, and you get to hold baby goats and get butted by the baby goats, and see baby buffalo, and it's quite a tour. At the end of the tours, you get to taste watermelon radish. We'll have it platters of our vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, watermelon radish, and our honey dipped out into tasting cups. And also we sit in the middle of a buffalo pasture, our greenhouses and our offices, and we're not up in the casino area. So we also were given the opportunity to have our own floral department. So I was given the opportunity to hire I did it myself in the beginning, but we grew so much and was given the opportunity to grow. So I hired a florist, and in our area out there, in the greenhouse area, she puts together beautiful floral. We don't have to go outside now. The flowers that you see there are cut flowers and floral, from tropical flowers. We don't grow those. We grow anything that we can use that we do grow, we do. We use what we can use. But it is such a savings to order them in at cost, and we don't have to order them florists and flowers from outside the facility. So it's a saving. We have many events that require centerpieces and things like that there at the casino. So it's quite a savings. We do a lot from our horticulture department. So we're blessed to have all that comes from our horticulture department. And our outside facilities, this is Downstream Casino. It really doesn't show Kappa. We've had another addition added over here to the side. It's beautiful. It's called the Kappa Tower. And it is quite beautiful, but when we get finished in the greenhouses in the morning and when daylight hits, my people are out on carts with their work equipment and many shrubs and many trees, and we take care of all of Mother Nature's offerings, and spring, summer, and fall. We take care of all of it, front and back, and it's beautiful all the way around. And we're very busy. The only thing that we really don't do is mow the grass and weed eat the weeds. There's a tribal member, an elder. His name is T.C. Bear, and he's responsible for the mowing and the weeding in his team that I rely on a whole lot. And it's quite a beautiful facility. Everyone should come for a tour. And we have a 5-star hotel. It's quite nice. We have a spa. And that's another thing I'll mention in the spa. We also grow herbs, aromatic herbs, for the spa, for the guests that come in. And in the fall, we grow pumpkins for like pumpkin scrubs and pumpkin hand massages and body rubs and all that stuff. And they add sugar to it and rub it all over people's bodies and make people happy and bring them into the Christmas spirit and to the fall spirit. So they're really happy with that, and it smells really good, and people like it. So the picture over on the right, that's an unfortunate buffalo that probably was served on the table that right next to it's setting. But that's a red oak, and that's when I say the florist, we also decorate the decorations from the horticulture department and greenhouses, and that's some of the decorations that we do there at the fireplace hearth in red oak. We decorate outside of downstream also. We donate a lot of decorations in the city of Joplin, Missouri, and we donate a lot to a lot of needy causes also in decorations. Our chairman allows us to donate to causes like Children Miracle Network and things like that, needy causes. And then this is the beehives, some of the beehives that we have, and really. I want to grow to 100 hives, and we have around 75 really healthy hives, and really quite productive. It all depends on the foraging and how far they can go to forage. We keep our property really tightly groomed. It's not really natural. So I think this year I'm going to plant a lot of things that they can forage and stay home. The bees can stay closer to home. We don't want them to venture out. Although the Quapaw tribe owns a lot of property around the casino, the bees will travel up to 1.5 miles away, which that's okay, but we don't want them to go any farther foraging for food. We don't want them to get in any other areas that might have chemical that some crop duster or some farmer might have put out. So if they run out of things to forage, we feed them and we give them vitamins to keep them close to home and keep them healthy. And this is some of the goats. Our goats, we eventually want to start, and the beeswax, we want to eventually start doing candles. We already do candles. We just don't have enough beeswax right now to sell them, but we know the process, and we have the equipment to make candles, and we eventually will have them listed on the internet. And we use the herbs, the aromatic herbs, and the oils to scent them with. But back to the goats. Our goats are pets, and they have names. And there might be 120 goats out, and you can call one by name, and that one will run to the fence. So anyway, so I know you shouldn't make pets out of things like that, but we do. So that's my story.
Yeah, thank you. So we also use the goats for another area. We use them as a natural weed control out in our pasture land. And they go out there. We have over 3,000 acres of pasture land, but we don't want to spray anything on it or risk contaminating it. So we have the goats out there with our bison, and they take care of that for us. Usable land is a big issue for the Quapaw because a lot of our tribal land is on a Superfund site. And so about 75 years ago, they were mining that area, and there's lead, zinc, and cadmium and just piles. They look like mountains. So some tourists who come through, they actually think we have mountains in Oklahoma, right in this area. And they're not. They're just giant piles of chat, is what we call it. And so we've been cleaning that up. We've been working with the EPA, and we've been removing it, putting it all in one location away from water so it doesn't contaminate that. And then we can clear it all out, make sure it's safe, and then put pasture land and animals on top of it to make it usable again. And then once that's cleaned up, we can add more bison to it. So we started our bison program in 2010, and we had 8 American bison at that time. And since then, in the past 8 years, we've grown to nearly 200 bison. We DNA test the bison to separate the bovine DNA from pure DNA to make sure that our herd stays genetically pure. We also launched our cattle program in 2014, so just a few years after our bison. And whenever we did this, we decided to open our Quapaw cattle company to manage both of these herds. And we now have over 1,200 head of cattle. They're all hormone-free, and they're all Black Angus. Feed is our #1 cost in our livestock program, and it has been for several years. So we started our own crops. We have soybeans, wheat, and corn. And this is a cheaper alternative to commercial feed because we only use rainwater on these. We have a silage pit, a commodity barn, and hay barns to all reduce outside expenses for these feeds. But that's just something that we're going to have to continue working on in the future. Our processing plant opened in 2017 in August, so it's not quite a year old yet. But it created 14 new jobs, and we have 2 interns who also work over there who are in a local college. We're equipped to process beef, bison, elk, goats, and lambs, and we can do up to 100 head per week when we're at full capacity, but we aren't quite there yet. Having our own processing plant really allows us to control the cost. A lot of other processing plants get booked by big box store companies or Tyson, things like that, and it's hard for smaller farms to really get in and get their meats processed. So this allows us to service local farmers as well as our own meat. And then it creates revenue and creates high quality products. So we can make our ground beef, ground bison, steaks, or we can even make bacon, beef sticks, bison sticks. Carolyn asked me to bring 4 to 5 large packages of spicy beef sticks with me because her staff loves them. So I had 45 beef sticks in my suitcase on the way here. I made sure I checked that bag so I didn't have to pull it out at security checkpoints. This processing plant was designed to be educational, so that kind of what sets it apart from other plants. It's also the only one in the country that is tribally owned and operated on tribal land. So, like I said, it's designed to be educational. We give several thousand people tours through here every year. We give tours to other tribes, colleges, youth organizations. We get a lot of interest in other tribes who are wanting to do something similar in their tribe, so they want to come look at how we did it. It was largely self-funded, but we did use HUD grants to help with that cost. So after we take our beef from the pasture to the processing plant, a lot of the meat ends up in our casinos. So we have Red Oak Steakhouse that he was talking about earlier. That is our highest quality meat that we have. They're very selective there. We also have a sports bar and a few other restaurants inside the casino. We also donate a lot of meat to our Title VI Center, which is our elder center. We give some to our child care centers, local high schools, and we donate over 20,000 pounds a year to local food banks in the area. I guess we also sell the meat online. Quapaw Cattle Company Store.com if you're interested. And we have convenience stores around the area that also sell it, and we have a mercantile at our Quapaw Cattle Company location that sells it if you're there in person. Like I said, the sports bar in our casino also has our brewery in it. We have a little microbrewery. It sells 3 different beers. We have an IPA, a red beer. Cannot remember what the third one is right now off the top of my head, but red one is very good if you're ever in town. I think they have a little bit of honey in them. We also have a Quapaw coffee roasting facility that opened in 2016, and this has 1 employee working in there. And we import beans from other tribes around the world and roast them to create our own custom blends. And people who drink this coffee just rave about it. We have it in all of our tribal offices and throughout the casino. And then we also have it for sale in our mercantile and our gift shop because it's been quite popular. Our dog program opened in 2015, and that opened up 2 more jobs, and we also have a few jobs as handlers. We have 11 Belgian Malinois dogs. 7 are trained for explosive detection. So these dogs will be used for security at our concerts and events and things like that, just to make sure everybody stays safe. We have 1 narcotics dog that's trained for cocaine, meth, heroin, and weed. And that dog is also trained for search and rescue. So that dog was shipped to Puerto Rico to help find people after the hurricane. It was also shipped down to Texas to help with security and search and rescue down there. We have 1 arson dog. It is the only arson dog in Oklahoma. It got over 75 cases last year. And we have our long-term project is the 2 pathogen detecting dogs. So these will be the only 2 in the world that will be trained for detecting Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli. And they have 1 more step before they will be certified. They just have to be able to detect the live pathogens. So as soon as we get those where we can train the dogs with them, then they will be certified. And our trainer called these the Ferrari of the working dogs. So if you're interested in getting working dogs, check out the Belgian Malinois. And this is my personal project, is our food sovereignty assessment. And this is something our sovereignty team created that I talked about in the beginning. And we're just asking people what kind of foods they're buying, where are they buying it from, are they getting enough nutritious food, and if they are or not, how is that affecting their health? How does their income play into that? So we're asking all these questions and just trying to figure out how this will guide our future programs. So we discovered that almost over 90% of people want to buy more tribally produced foods. So now we need to figure out why they're not buying them if they want to. What can we do to help? Or I asked a question about if there's a food bank within reasonable distance from their homes. And 20% said no, 10% said yes, but 70% said they don't know. So they don't even know if we have this resource where they might need a food bank, and there may be one just around the corner, but they don't know about it. So we need to make sure that people are educated and just trying to see what kind of programs that we can add to our agriculture programs to make everyone healthier, happier, and easier on everyone. And that is the end of our presentation. So does anyone have any questions about any programs? Would greenhouses be good to use, because you said we can use them throughout the year, would they be a big benefit in colder climates across the country, especially up north? Could we be using them more to further agriculture?
Sure, you would have to decide what you were going to grow and if it would benefit. The heating bills would be one concern. You would have to, a lot of people use wood, something like that, and keep it stocked with wood. That would be your main concern, but you can go grow cold crops in your greenhouses almost year-round. You know, through the winter, you can almost keep something growing constantly. You just have to research and figure out what you want to grow throughout the certain times of year. Summer's really tough. You know, they get really, really hot, but with the ends open, there's always something that you can grow in them. But that's why I have raised beds outside, you know. Right now, outside, I'm growing cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, onions, potatoes, horseradish, rhubarb, squash, zucchini squash, cucumbers, tomatoes. I grow all that stuff inside up until it gets so hot that we can't hardly grow anything else. But then as soon as fall gets here, September, I'm going to start growing that stuff inside. I'll probably have fig trees throughout the year inside this year in a cooler greenhouse. And you just have to research and get you something that you can grow through the winter. And there's a lot of things, you know, your lettuce, your radishes, and a lot of healthy things you can grow inside, sure, without a lot of heat.
Are there any other questions?
You mentioned the Quapaw cattle company that you can purchase things online. Do you sell your other products online as well?
We do not sell our other products online at this time. The Quapaw Cattle Company store actually just opened less than a week ago, I want to say. So it is very new, but I think we are hoping to expand and add our other products on. The honey has been very popular at our mercantile store, and we've been using a lot of it in the casinos and in our beverages. So we don't really have any excess of that at this time. So as the bee production continues to grow, like I said, we went from 20 to around 75 in just 3 years. So as that continues to grow, we will be hopefully selling that to bigger markets. But right now it's just the meat products.
I was wondering what variety of tobacco you use and how do you control the hornworms?
Well, it's a blend of 3 tobaccos, and it's a southern blend, Kentucky blends. And I was telling her that I didn't bring with me what the blends are, but it's a ceremonial tobacco blend, tribal blend, and but it's used for ceremonial prayer. And I'm sorry I didn't bring the names of it, but it's used, and it's easy to grow. I just want to tell you that I had really never grown it until the last couple of years. Insects really don't bother it. The seeds are quite small to get started.
So most tobacco has an issue with hornworms. Do you have the green? They look like caterpillars. Are they native to your area?
We're just curious because I work at a tobacco farm not far from here. And so are there other places around you growing tobacco?
No.
That's why you don't have a
No,
problem
I
with
only
the
do it
pests.
on...
That's why you're not having a problem with the pests.
our,
I actually had a unrelated question. So with the increased interest in like the local food movement, are you doing anything to educate the guests at your casino? And
Sure.
like, do you ever invite them into your space to show them what you're doing, or
Right.
what kind of educational opportunities are you offering for them?
Sure. We have tours up to 1,500 people a year. Young culinary students. Our guests set up tours. People from throughout the communities. We live on the corner. Our states, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, butt together. So we get really 4 states. People from all over the United States bus in, and people that stay at Downstream come to our greenhouses, set up tours from all the communities. And we give tours, and then we have Q&A at the end. Yes, lots of questions, and we give classes and tell them anything they ask and show them what we do. We also have a learning center. Really, it was originally called the daycare, but it's called the learning center now. And the employees, I believe it's up to around 1,500 employees at Downstream, which is very good for our economy in the area. Once a month, they come we bring the youngsters from the Learning Center over, and we set up big projects, learning projects for those children, and we let them learn how to plant seed. They know, they don't only think that meat comes from the grocery store, and they don't only think that vegetables come from the grocery store. They know where it comes from. We set up gardening boxes over in their learning center. We let them plant tomatoes. We grow the plants. We let them grow the seed. We let them plant the plant. We let them from beginning to finish to the end, so they know where it comes from. Because there are so many young people nowadays that don't even know where a tomato, anything comes from. They're very excited. they get to take the plants home, plant it in their garden, and show their parents or where it comes from. So yes, we're very big into teaching that, and we encourage tours. Yeah.
I also do a lot of it, community outreach as part of my position. I a lot of like this booth here. I take my flyers with me, and anyone who stops by, I tell them what we have in the community, because it's surprising how many people in our community don't know what we have. And so, especially since it's such a rural area, maybe they just automatically go to Walmart and they don't ever drive by down our road where we have things. Or they know about the casino, but they don't know all the work that we put in behind it to locally source our foods. So I go around and I talk to people about that, and I've been trying to get people to take my survey in the community a lot, and so they want to know why are you bothering me with this? And so then I tell them, like, well, here, this question, here's what I'm going to do with it. Or this question, here's why I want to know. I want to do something for you. So if you could do this for me, then here's a different thing. So maybe they'll go through and they find a few questions that they really like, and they want to know what people have been answering so far and what I'm planning to do with it. So it really gets them thinking about the different types of programs we could do and different kinds of comments they have or suggestions or things they notice. Because I just moved to Oklahoma from Indiana in March. So I'm really new to this area. So a lot of the elders love telling me what I've been missing in the past. But so they like to get involved in that.
So this is how it works. There's really not a disconnect between her and I at all. Her facilities in Oklahoma, mine's in Kansas, our casino and hotels in Oklahoma. But I could throw a rock and hit the casino and hotel, and it'll be a little bit harder for me to hit her facility with a rock, but it's not that far away. They normally set the tour up with her facility first, or mine, and they go through. When you set up a tour, it's really a very educational tour. So you might tour the beef processing plant first, then you come through the horticulture department, greenhouses, the honey tasting, the vegetable tasting, and the coffee process, the grinding, where the coffee comes from, the coffee tasting. We also have a honeybee process. The fresh honey that might be harvested that season is also in some of the coffee. So it's quite the treat. When you come to downstream, it's like going to, for one thing, like a museum, because we have pottery from many, many centuries, or hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. And you get to tour history, basically. We have, where the states meet, there's a structure built in 1938, where it sets and the three states meet. And there's just a lot to see. When you come there, you get to see buffalo right next to you. You get to see baby buffalo and goats, and it's quite an adventure. It's pretty neat to bring kids to. Anyway, thank you. If you have any more questions.
I know you said that your community is about 900 people. How far away is it? Like, it's pretty rural. How far away is it from the closest, like, bigger townships?
I live in Miami, Oklahoma, which has a population of around 15,000 people, and it's about a 15-minute drive away. He lives in Joplin, Missouri, which between 60 and 100,000. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes away.
6 miles.
Well,
right.
To the
Joplin.
Casino it is.
Yeah.
It's a little farther into Quapaw, correct?
Yeah. This will kind of put it into some of our perspectives. Route 66, okay. She's on Route 66 in Quapaw. Our casino's on Route 66. And I-44 down the interstate. I-44 and Route 66. It's one of the most popular ways to get somewhere in history of the United States, right?
Our geography is a little weird. To get from my office in Main Street, Quapaw, to his casino which is also has a Quapaw address. It's about 15 minutes, but you go up through Kansas and then back into Missouri and then take the roundabout and you're back in Oklahoma. So it's a really odd layout, and since it's rural, there aren't just a straight road to get from one place to another.
This just didn't happen. Our chairman had a vision. Let's just, right.
Yes, we put our casino in the most convenient place possible. Then the rest of our administration buildings are more out in the rural part of it. Are there any more questions?
Hey, make sure you Google Downstream Casino. There's a lot of interesting videos, and it kind of tells how we were put together and we're about the Quapaw tribe. And there's a lot of interesting pictures and history and things like that. So.
He asked if we sell any of our bison offspring to other local farmers to help them create genetically pure herds. And I don't think we do, not that I know of. Since we're still growing it, we're mainly breeding for ourselves and then sending it to the processing plant. But I think that'd be probably something we're interested in the future once we get to the capacity where we're producing all the meat that we need in our community and then helping others expand. Anyone else? Any repeat people? Got any more questions? I love it. She's over here taking notes. She's got all kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah, if you have any other questions you don't ask in front of people or think you might be annoying, which you're not, but you can also come over to our table and just talk to us.
Everybody's been very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
Yeah. We consider Downstream a big diamond. And we keep it polished. It's beautiful. It truly is. It's green. It's beautiful. Shiny. Thank you so much.